midway impromptu book review on East of Eden, a book I did not want to buy. I did not want to read this book. I had no interest in it whatsoever. I don't like Steinbeck. I did not enjoy Of Mice and Men. I did not enjoy The Pearl. I did not enjoy anything that I've ever read by him. But I kept seeing this all over my timeline. And then was told it's a retelling of the Cain and Abel story. Like, that made it even less interesting to me. But everybody that I saw on my timeline that I followed was reading this book, talking about this book, loving this book. It's in their top 10. It's in their top 5. I'm like, okay, I'm going to read this book. Thinking, I'm going to read a chapter a day. Start out first day. No, you won't. You're going to read 50 pages of this book and be up till midnight. I'm like, okay. Completely sucked into this book. I don't know why. So much about it is stuff that I normally hate, but he writes in such a way, all I can say is it's very compelling. He spends a lot of time describing things. He spends a lot of time describing these characters, and you just can't stop reading it. I'm just really shocked that it's all I could think about today. I had to work my normal job, and all I wanted to do was read the next chapter. So I thought I would give a little impromptu book review about it. So it starts out with Cyrus Trask. They go into a little bit more history before him about some other people in this, the area that he lives in, describing the area. But Cyrus Trask, he's not a great guy. He's kind of a rabble rouser. He enlists in the Civil War, and he gets into one battle and gets shot in the leg, has to have it sawed off, and he gets sent home. And that's the extent of his time in the army and in the war. He's seen one battle that he didn't even really fight in because he ended up getting shot. But he is obsessed with war and military and army, and it's all he talks about. It's all he studies. He reads every newspaper article, every book, and he won't stop talking about it to his sons. So he has 2 sons. He's had 2 different marriages. When he gets home from the war, it says that his wife thought that he was going to die in the war, and when he didn't, it sounds like she was a little disappointed. But she dies. I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but she dies, and he is left with an infant, essentially, which he spends a lot of time giving whiskey to so that it'll stop crying. So I don't know if the whiskey had anything to do with how his first son, Adam, turns out, but Adam is like a very simple type of a person. So I don't know if that affected him, or if that's just how he was, or if it's like nature and nurture, and because he was growing up without a mother and with kind of this cold, distant father. But he's a very sensitive boy. He's very simple. He's very sweet. He wants very much to be loved by a mother, and his dad does marry another woman, essentially to help raise this kid, but she's also kind of a simple person. She doesn't feel very maternal to him, and she shows no emotion. It specifically talks about how she almost like makes herself a mannequin in some ways, like just shows no emotion. And he sees her when she's alone smiling, and it's like the only time he's ever seen her smiling, and probably the only time he's ever seen anybody smile, knowing how his dad is. And he is just in awe of that. He wants her to smile at him, but she masks herself, and I don't know if she does it as a protective way to just avoid any conflict with her husband or what. He's not abusive to her, but she probably just she's just doing what she's got to do to raise this kid, and then she has her own son. So she has her own son, Charles, who she loves more than Adam, because she doesn't love Adam at all. But Charles is a very violent person. He is very, when he gets mad, he gets mean, and he gets mad at Adam for things, not things that Adam does, but just things that Adam says, or that it's perceived. And so Adam has to be very, very careful around Charles, very careful about what he says. He reads faces very well. Like, he notices like any change. He's like Like, I just picture him like when you see a rabbit and a rabbit sees the predator and it just stops in its tracks and it's like, don't notice me, don't notice me. Like, that is how he is around his brother Charles. He wants to have a good relationship with Charles. And I think Charles somewhat likes Adam, but there's just times where Charles gets jealous. And one of the things that Charles gets most jealous about, and that it rankles him, is it's their dad's birthday, and Adam gives his dad a puppy that he found on the farm or somehow on the road. He finds this puppy and he gives it to his dad. And Charles gives a pocket knife that he actually had to like earn money for, and he bought it with his own money. And he sees how the dad loves the dog so much and like never uses the knife, like never touches it, never uses it, never says anything about it. And Charles cannot get over this. He just can't. And so there's one point in the book where he beats up Adam so bad that there's a couple times where he beats him up really bad. And the second time he almost kills him because he leaves. And then while he's gone, Adam realizes he's got to get out of Charles's way if Charles comes back. And so he drags himself out of the way, like where Charles can't find him. But he sees that Charles comes back and he has an axe. So Charles meant to kill him. And Adam, basically gets back home, and the dad is like, he grabs a shotgun and he goes out to find Charles. And I think if he found Charles, he might have killed him. And so it's just an incredible sense of heartbreak almost and longing. You just feel the longing that Adam has to want to be loved by a mother that he doesn't receive. And the longing that Charles has to want to be loved by his dad that he perceives as not receiving. Although it seems to me that the dad treats them both the same. And in some ways, I feel like the dad is even more harsh to Adam because he like ingrains this military background, and he takes them as if they're soldiers from the time that they're little, like traipsing around, behaving like soldiers, doing the work like soldiers would do. He is training them to be in the army. And Adam keeps saying, like, I don't want to do that. I want to stay on the farm. I want to do things on the farm. And the dad's like, no, you're going in the army. And he forces Adam to enlist, but he doesn't force Charles. And it doesn't make any sense to anybody why. And Adam is too soft for this. And it seems like Charles would benefit more from having that kind of, like rigorous discipline, but it's the opposite of what you would think. And so the dad makes Adam go into the army, and Adam, he does his 5 years, and it's hard, and he gets through it. And meanwhile, the dad has somehow risen because he's such an expert on the war. I think people just assume that he was in all these battles, that he was in Gettysburg, that he was in all these things because he knows so much about it. And he becomes this lauded like military strategist who ends up going to Washington. And so you've got him in Washington. So it's just the most unlikely situation. You've got Adam in the military, and Charles is left at home on his own, just basically running the farm. And he keeps writing letters to Adam, like he misses his brother, even though he almost killed him and that he was very good to him when they were around. But it's like he misses his father, he misses his brother, and he wants very much for Adam to come home. And Adam doesn't want to come home. I mean, it makes sense to me why Adam doesn't want to come home. But after he gets done with the 5 years, the dad, who's now in Washington and this huge, has huge sway and power, has Adam sent to Washington. And he's like, oh, I can get a place for you here. I can pull a lot of strings, and I can get you this really cushy job. And Adam is like, no, I don't want to work with you. Adam does not love his father, even though his father loves Adam more than he loves Charles. And Charles loves the father and can't understand why he loves Adam more and doesn't really love him. And so it's a very, like, Charles doesn't know at all what his dad is doing in Washington. He just wants his brother to come home. And so instead of going home, Adam re-enlists in the army. Even though he hated it, he re-enlists and he has another miserable 5 years. And he says to Charles, okay, well, you know, in one of the letters, he says, I'll come home when I'm done this time. So now at this point, I think he's been gone for like 10 years, but he doesn't go home right away because he doesn't want to. And he's like being an absolute hobo. Like he's just sleeping on the streets, trying not to get arrested for being a vagrant. He gets like arrested for being a vagrant and put on this chain gang. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. And then finally, when everything else, he's exhausted everything else, he finally goes home and sees his brother. And Charles is beyond happy that his brother is home, but it's very awkward between them because they haven't seen each other in so long, and also because Charles has gotten some very interesting news about his father and what it means for the boys. And it's interesting for Adam to feel like, for the first time, not afraid of his brother Charles, not afraid of what Charles could do to him. They're now on equal footing and they both can feel it. And so it's like a shift in their relationship, and it's interesting. For the first time, they're like equals in a way. And then it switches to talk about this woman named, well, she's a girl when they start talking about her, and her name is Kathy Ames. And they just start to talk about this girl, Kathy Ames, who's growing up with her parents, and she is like a demon seed. She's just a bad seed from the get-go and a psychopath. And her parents, that's the only child they have, so they don't know that she's a psychopath. The mom just stays home. She's not around any other children. But the dad kind of notices because he does work out of the house, and when he sees other kids, he's like, my kid's a little bit different than that. She's very odd, and she's weird in a way that people are like, they don't really want to be around her, but they also can't stop looking at her. It's kind of like a train wreck. And she does several things to people where they don't outright say what she did, but people's lives are irrevocably changed. I can talk. Irrevocably changed because of just her having interactions with her. Like whatever happened, whatever transpired, lives are ruined. I'll put it that way. So multiple lives are ruined, and she tries to make a break for it. I think she's about 16. She leaves. She goes on a train, and the dad finds out right away. Like he's like looking for her, can't find her, goes to the train station, finds it. Oh yeah, everybody knows who she is, small town. Yeah, she took the train to Boston. He gets on the next train, brings her back, and beats her like with a whip. And it says that she has just this miraculous turnaround where she's so sweet to them and going out of her way to be like super helpful and super helpful, not, at home for the mom, and super helpful with her dad at his office, and like so great in school. And everybody's like, wow, it was this huge turnaround. Like what? And they were like, wow, I guess we just needed to have a little bit of firmer hand. But it's all an act. Like it's all an act where she's like, I think it's so that she can understand more to get more freedom from them, to get more insight and be able to get her hands on money and learn more things. They trust her more. And she ends up leaving again. And we see her in the next chapter, and she's a woman now, and lives continue to be ruined. And it says at the end of the last chapter that she ended up kind of causing the wrong person who really beat her up bad. And at first you think she's dead, but then it's like, no, she didn't die. She crawled to get away, and she's ending up on somebody's doorstep. And I don't know yet, but I think that it's probably the Trask brothers. Like somehow I'm like, oh no, like this is all we need in the mix is some absolute psychopath woman in between these brothers. And I don't know if that's true or not. I guess I'll have to let you know. Maybe I'll read another 100 pages, but all I can say is at this point, I recommend. Like I'm recommending this book at this point, 100 pages in. I'm totally sucked in. No regrets in buying it, and I can't wait to see what happens next. So stay tuned. I'll come back when I'm a little bit farther and tell you how it's going.